Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, a renewal, Pax Vobiscum. Peace be unto you. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to look at Judges chapter 13. There are 25 verses, beginning in verse 1. Significant difference, it says here, the children of Israel yet again committed iniquity. Oh, here they go again, committing iniquity. In the Masoretic, it says they did evil again. So these are just, again, just giving them a bad impression. Not that committing iniquity is good, but at least it's a little more relatable. Yeah, we all commit sin. We all fall short sometimes. But doing evil again, oh God forbid that you're evil. So it's just continuing to point out that the children of Israel are seen in a negative light, a lot more negatively in the Masoretic text, which is ironically what the majority of Jews do use, is the Masoretic. I don't know of any Jewish subgroup or denomination that uses the Septuagint, in our current day at least. Verse 4, we have the instructions from the angel to the woman. He says here, be very cautious. Be very cautious. Instead, the Masoretic says, therefore beware, I pray thee. So even pleading with her, please beware. Not so in the Septuagint. In the verse 5, another significant difference here. It says here, you are with child versus you shall conceive. So she already has a child in her womb instead of you shall conceive. So it's not that she has not conceived yet, it's that she hasn't given birth yet, according to the Septuagint. And I insert my own interpretation here, grammatically anyway. I'm of the opinion he could be saying, possibly you are perhaps to be with child. So that's an optional interpretation there. Verse 6, describing the appearance of the angel, of the man of God, his appearance was as of an angel of Elohim, versus countenance. So only his face was like an angel of Elohim. Whereas it's not just his face, it's his head to toe, his whole appearance. Okay, and as well it describes that he was very dreadful versus terrible. In either case, this is a 15th century definition of either term, and they both mean causing awe and amazement. So these are compliments, these are good attributes or physical attributes. Verse 7, holy to God, set apart to Elohim, versus a Nazarite, just simply a Nazarite. I think that's redundant because it does mention a Nazarite earlier in the chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there it is, verse 5. So just re-emphasizing that not only is he a Nazarite, but he really is set apart, should be set apart. Verse 5, an omission of my Adon, or my Adonai. Okay. O Adonai, my Adonai, instead of the Tetragrammaton. So that is, a difference of, doesn't say the Lord, but perhaps it was the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, I'm not sure. But I'm leaning towards probably isn't, because it's not all capitalized and does not include the word the, or the. Verse 10, it says, brought out, when the woman saw the angel again. So she brought word to her husband versus showed her husband. So did she take her cell phone and take a picture and show it to her? No, she simply ran over to her husband, as it says here in the narrative, and communicated to him, there's an angel out here, or this is the man who appeared to me the other day. Maybe didn't say an angel. Verse 11 says here, the angel said versus he said. Verse 14, this is an important note, important observation to keep in mind, that it says here, vine yielding wine versus vine that comes of the vine. So I want to make a distinction and point out that this does not include, in my opinion at least, this does not include the following that do grow on vines: vegetables such as pumpkins, squash, cucumbers, peas, tomatoes, and so on. There's others as well, but those are the most popular, well-known ones. Fruit that grows on the vine. It does not include kiwi, passion fruit, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew melon, and other various types of melons, in my opinion, again. This is specifying in the Septuagint vine yielding wine, which pretty much includes mainly grapes. Okay. As well, I want to point out that it says she shall observe. So the angel is commanding her. This is mandating her versus let her observe. So, allow her to observe it, permit her to if she wants. I don't think there's any room for her to choose. Not that she can't choose, but we can see the commandment is more stricter. She really shall observe it if she's serious about this. In verse 16, it says here, if you should detain me, the angel is responding to Manoah, versus though you detain me. And it also says here in verse 18, moving ahead. So Manoah is asking the angel, what is your name? And this is his response. Why do you thus ask after my name, whereas it is wonderful versus it is secret? So wonderful, the Old English definition, it can be full of wonder, obviously wonderful, unnatural, supernatural. Other Old English terms for the word secret, on the other hand, are mysterious, incomprehensible, and magical. So I lean towards it being supernatural, and possibly if we're looking at the Masoretic, considering that definition, or that the word secret, incomprehensible. So in either case, whether it's supernatural or incomprehensible, perhaps they are not able to fully appreciate it or even pronounce it, or not that they can't know it, because yes, there are angels with names such as Michael or Michael and many others. So I'm not going to name them all, but the names of angels. So in any case, he says whether it's wonderful or secret, he doesn't give it out. In verse 19, the angel wrought or worked a distinct work. He did a distinct action versus he did wondrously. So it's distinctive, and yes, it is wondrous. And what he did was when they offered the offering, the kid of the goats and its meat offering or food offering, they burnt it, and the flame went up above the altar toward heaven, and the angel of the Lord, the angel of Yah, descended, or I should say not descended, went up, ascended, just as the Masoretic says, went up in the flame. So he used the flame to either transport himself, or he simply disappeared. Because it says went up in the flame, and they saw this happen. So it doesn't exactly say that he disappeared, but he went up, whether it means that he physically moved from the top of the altar to the heavens, or he simply went up in smoke, or went up in flames, so to speak, that he no longer was visible to them, because it also says in the following verse, he no longer appeared to them anymore. Okay, and closing out with the son of these two individuals turns out to be Samson. And it says in the last verse of this chapter, and the spirit of Yah began to go out with him, Samson. We don't know how old he was, but it says the child grew. So perhaps he was a teenager. I'm just speculating. But what does that even mean? The spirit of Yah began to go out with him. Was the spirit of God, spirit of the Lord, was it dating him, to be a little facetious? Was it going steady with him? No, those are modern vernacular terms of going out. But what it means is, my opinion anyway, is that it was accompanying him on his outings. So it was going out with him. Okay. Verses began to move him at times in the Masoretic. So what does that mean? It can mean various things. It could mean that it moved him physically, maybe by possessing him, taking over his body, which sounds a little demonic in my opinion, and could mean emotionally influencing him, so moving him emotionally in that way. So again, I lean, as this channel does, leans very much towards the Septuagint. So the spirit of Yah was accompanying him on his travels when he went out, and it talks about where he went in the latter half of the verse, in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. So that seems to be only further reinforcing and relating that, yes, this indeed is the spirit of Yah going out with him, accompanying him on his travels to these places, instead of moving him to these places supernaturally or something, where he's being teleported or simply possessing his body and bringing him to these places. And so that's all for this video. Judges chapter 13. And until next time, we will look at Judges chapter 14. So until next time, I thank you very much for your attention. I bid you all Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, a renewal, Pax Vobiscum, and peace be unto you. Maranatha.